It just wouldn't be the offseason without a little football drama, and we have some more because Athlon Sports in their college football preview magazine decided to talk to a few SEC coaches anonymously. And I have a problem with this, but I'll get into why in just a moment. But these coaches who chose to speak anonymously were kind of speaking poorly of Harsin and what he's doing at Auburn. And let me just get into it a little bit. So you know that Auburn went 6-7 last season, had a terrible end of the season with 5 losses in a row. Bo Nix left. You can think that's a positive or a negative depending on what type of fan you are. And ultimately, we've had a lot of change in the offseason. We've had some players leave, we've had some coaches leave, new players come on board, new coaches come on board. We've had the introduction of Zach Calzada, which I think is one of the most exciting additions for this upcoming season. We've had some new recruits join. A lot of stuff has happened. But in this particular instance, Athlon Sports has chosen to add more fuel to the fire, and that fire is the drama. We had all that off-season drama happen with Harsin, where I personally believe a story was planted to try to drive him out, and this just seems to be a little more fuel being added to that drama, to that fire. And so what we have here, I'm going to read a couple of quotes from these anonymous coaches so you can kind of see what's going on and what Athlon Sports got them to say. So one of the anonymous coaches said this. I've got these papers in front of me that has some of these quotes on it. And one of the coaches said that it certainly drove coaches and players out of the program and absolutely made it easier to recruit against them. And what he's talking about is, he said there were a lot of self-inflicted wounds that were made by the head coach and by people that are surrounding the Auburn football program. So that's one kind of accusation that's being thrown out there, that because of those things it drove the players away. I personally think it had a little more to do with the play time that they were not getting that they expected they would get. Yes, there was some other stuff that could have happened. We had some rumors about why Bo Nix left. He could not get the guarantee he wanted, but we don't know for sure what happened. We know that with the coaching, we had some weird coaching stuff going on. I'm not going to lie about that. Our offensive coordinator, Austin, I can't even remember his last name now, from the Seattle Seahawks, him leaving, that was a little odd. I think that had more to do with him than it did to do with the program or with Harsin. But let's go on. Another thing that one of these anonymous coaches said is that the upside is that you can't say Harsin doesn't understand the league anymore. He certainly does understand the SEC. One, he went through the gauntlet that was those last 5 games of the season, 5 losses in a row. But he also learned sort of the ugly side of the SEC. And that is the expectations and also what can happen with boosters, fans, other coaches, all the above. Another one of these anonymous SEC coaches said, if he survives this, it will be the greatest trial by fire ever. And this is one of the quotes that was mentioned in this article that I agree with the absolute most. I just think that if he makes it through this and makes it to the other side, he is going to be in the best shape possible as the head football coach of Auburn. Because if he can survive this and he has a good season, he's going to be basically invincible. Not completely, obviously, but he's going to truly have run the gauntlet, or as this coach said, the greatest trial by fire ever. And just to throw a little more shade at Auburn, one of these coaches who's speaking once again anonymously, chose to say that he doesn't think a whole lot of the Auburn football program. And specifically, he doesn't think a whole lot about TJ Finley or Zach Calzada. He's not impressed with them, and he thinks that one of the things that Auburn needs the most is a good quarterback, and he's not impressed with the two. We've got really 3 guys we're looking at, but he's not impressed with the 2 who seem to be at the front of the pack at the moment. He says, as far as the football, they need a quarterback. They need a much better offensive line. They need to replace a ton of guys in the secondary and receiving corps. So looking at the quarterback in particular, I personally think Zach Calzada is the guy. And I know some people will disagree and say it's going to be TJ Finley, possibly Robbie Ashford. For me, here's my 1, 2, 3. It's going to be Zach Calzada. He's got the experience. He's shown in the offseason. He's put in the work. His accuracy is greatly improved. He was the third highest graded Power 5 quarterback in play action passes last season. So I think he has a very high ceiling for him. Probably Robbie Ashford has a higher ceiling than Zach Calzada, and I just don't have a whole lot of faith in TJ Finley, if I'm being honest. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but to me, Zach Calzada seems to be the obvious answer. This coach, however, does not seem to agree, and he doesn't think that Auburn has a lot of hope at the quarterback position, or really basically what he said is he doesn't have a lot of hope for the team in general, and I think that's a bunch of BS, and I don't agree with it at all. I think we have a chance to improve. Yes, we have a hard schedule, and we've got a very difficult road ahead of us, but we have a lot of potential, and with the changes that have been made in the offseason, I do think we have, like I said, we have the potential to improve, and we have a chance to do better than we did this past season. I don't see us going, 10 or 11 wins, but I do think there's the possibility of 7, 8 wins, at least an improvement from last year. Athlon Sports' final prediction on Auburn was for us to go 6-6 this upcoming season, finishing last in the SEC West, which would be 7th. And that's kind of what happened this past season. So they're predicting a repeat of what happened last year. I personally believe that if we go 6 wins again, that is bad news for Harsin. I think 7 wins is kind of that teetering point. That's where if we get 7 wins, it's going to be questionable about his future. Not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing. And I think if he wants to absolutely secure his job, 8 wins will do that. So if he can get 8 wins, job is absolutely secure. 7 is a little questionable, and 6, I think he's probably gone, to be honest. So I think he's going to be okay. He has a lot of upside going into this next season. And let's go back to what the original point of this video was, and that is these anonymous coaches speaking on Harsin. I really don't like that they did this. I don't think coaches should be just anonymously kind of trash talking the other coaches. As far as who it might have been in the SEC, I've got my predictions. And I'd love to know who you think it might be who spoke to Athlon Sports and said these negative things about Harsin. Tell me who you think it might be in the comments. I personally think if I wanted to tell you who I thought it would be, I would need to get my popcorn ready.